Welcome back on Dynamod. Today I want to propose you a video about the review about the FAQ released for February 2022 with the second round of the balance datasheet by the Games Workshop, and these FAQ are about the Corebook and commentary. Remember anyway that these are simply an update of previous facts. So if you're interested about the previous facts, you can find the link in the description, because each time I want only to update without having to repeat everything every time, only the new ones. So each time you find the update of the facts. So pay attention about such one, and now we can go to see about the new facts. I want to begin with the commentary, and this it's all about the rule always fight first last, because you seem to have a lot of problems when to explain such rules, or people are really able to find every possible misunderstanding available. So now with this one, it's explained step by step what is done to mean about always strike first, always strike last, how it correlate each one to the other one, or multiple of these ones, so that you can't have any problems. And to reinforce such thing, the GW also brought a example that make you understand how you can approach to all such fights in the case there are a lot of different situations that you can have in mind. So this is a way that you are able really to make every step understandable. So you have simply to think about a problem, and this scheme make you understand whatever it can happen, and so that you can have every options available. So remember that for example, multiple type of strike first only count as one time, so it doesn't matter how many times you have, it count once simply. The same is for the last, and so on. So think about your question, and you can find here your answer. So it's simply a way to make for sure, I hope as the last time, the thing explained. And so this commentary that it's a specific one about such special rules, I think that it's something that you have the idea to read, understand, and if you haven't understood something, reread it, and also use the example, because it's really quite good as explaining. And then we move to talk about the facts about the core book ones. And the first one, it's about the setting up reinforcement units, and it's an added option to this, so that is say that occasionally a reinforcement unit that is a transport model will require an embark unit to disembark when that unit is set up. Think about the dropouts that has the dropout assault rule, and a unit that disembark from a transport model that is a reinforcement unit on the turn that transport model is set up on the battlefield for the first time is also considered to be an reinforcement unit. This only apply on the turn that the transport model is set up on the battlefield. If a unit disembarks from that transport model in a later turn, it is no longer considered an enforcement unit. So remember that if you are forced to disembark as for the drop pod, you are a reinforcement when you arrive, because the drop pod arrive in that turn as an enforcement unit. Otherwise, if you arrive, for example, with another vehicle or so on, and then you can disembark in the next times, but you are not forced in that specific turn to disembark, simply you are not considered anymore a reinforcement unit. So all the rules that apply about it, think about the Auspex or so on, doesn't work on it. So pay attention about such distinguish. The next one, sincerely, I always opted to never find it explained. It's simply about how to make the quarters define. Simply it's it, and it's made also an example about what it means divide a rectangle in 4 parts, in 4 fields. So okay, it's done. Okay. The next fact it's about redeployment, and I admit that I had to reread it multiple times to understand what it meant, because it's about if a unit has an ability that allows it to be set up in a location other than the battlefield, or is it eligible for a stratagem that allows a unit to be set up in a location other than the battlefield, and that unit is selected for an ability that allows it to be redeployed, that unit cannot be set up in any location other than the battlefield unless specified in the redeployment ability itself. After thinking a bit about it, it's simply that if you have the option to redeployment, you can't redeploy a unit other than the battlefield. So the meaning is that simply that if you have a unit, its rule about being able to deploy other than the battlefield can't be used for the redeployment unless that redeployment itself let you do such. So you simply redeploy the unit on the battlefield itself, but you can't, if there is not a specific rule about, be able to use the ability of the unit to bring that unit out or in other place other than the battlefield with a redeployment. So it's much more complicated than the meaning itself that it should have. I think that it will be rephrased in the such as a fuck, but anyway, it means so. So you have a unit, if it can redeploy, it can't use its option that make, for example, it deploy other than the battlefield. So on. Think about the Necron that can embark on vehicles or so on, or other options. It's simply a way that the unit, once on the battlefield, can't be put out of the battlefield with a redeployment other than the redeployment itself allow you to do such. And then a fact about the setting up units disembarking from a destroyed transport. So when a transport model is destroyed, if you cannot set up every model from a unit that was embarked within it, only the models that cannot be set up are destroyed. So it means that not all the unit, but only the mod that cannot be set up after the destroying the transport itself. So it's quite simple, and you just simply to remember that you can see a part of the unit at least. And next we have a specifying about the psychic action that specify that, however, the range of psychic action is never modified by any such rules. So it means that you can gain any malus or any bonus to the range of the psychic actions. So I think that it can be quite interesting in such a way, because it can make you sure about the range that you have to apply the psychic action itself. And then we have a fact about additional attacks for a pair of weapons, and here I think that it can be justified, the fact itself, because it explains better what it means. So if a model is equipped with two weapons that have an ability that reads each time the bearer fights, it is equipped with a two specific name of the weapons on, it makes one additional attack with this weapon. For example, think about the Orcs Kisov, the Grey Knights, and the Falcons, so on. That model make only one additional attack and not one for each specified weapon it is equipped with. So it make understandable how many more attacks you can have. So I think that it's correct, because you could have misunderstood quite easily such meaning. So now it's explained without any problem. And then we have a fact about aircraft engagement range. And this is something that it's due. So it say that the only exception are units that can fly, so with the keyword fly, which can end a charge move within engagement range of an enemy aircraft model. So simply remember about such one, because if you are such type of unit, it's really quite important. And then we have some facts related again about the transports. And the first one that we see, it's about the shooting whilst embarked on a transport. So remember that the unit has to be on the transport when shooting. So it say on the 9th point, change a bit what it was written before, that if a transport model is under the effect of an ability which would apply a modifier to a dice roll made when making a ranged attack, such a modifier to hit roll, wound rolls, and so on, the same modifier applies each time an embarked model makes a ranged attack. So remember that it works only if the unit is firing whilst it is still on the model itself. So pay attention about such, and it's quite important. And then we have the last facts related about the transport, and they are about the rules that count as remaining stationary and change 2 points. The first one, it's an add of the 7th point that it's about the unit that can disembark from a transport that has moved. So even if it can do so and so on, but if that unit does so, it cannot then charge during the same turn. So pay attention about such point because it's really quite important. The 8th point is being changed in the way that if a unit has disembarked from a transport model, rules which allow that unit to be treated as full it has remained stationary have no effect. So when you disembark from a transport, you can't have such rule. And it's really important such one because it means that you can be subjected to penalty for shooting or so on that usually you do not have. So pay quite a lot of attention to such change. So from Dino Mode it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.